Hello and welcome to level 68 of the Thoughts and Players podcast, the gaming podcast with bold takes and no strings attached. I'm Jeremy, here with my two compadres. Of course, I have the lovable David.
What up?
And I have the all right Cory.
Hello, players. I knew something was coming. All right.
I said you're all right.
That threw me off even more.
Right? How are you guys doing this evening?
Good. I'm
doing great, man. We had some good barbecue.
I was gonna say I'm fantasizing about that pulled pork.
Yeah.
Jeremy was not exaggerating when he had talked about smoking meats and how much he loves to smoke meat on the weekend. It was
delish.
He can smoke my meats anytime he wants.
Oh, okay, there you go. I do appreciate. We had a little Thoughts and Players barbecue. I do appreciate you guys. I'm very happy that you were able to enjoy the meat, the smoked meat.
Yes.
Yeah, smoked it over
Delicious.
over a dozen hours or so. So that was really interesting. I never did a overnight smoke before. Mostly because I never have time, but decided that I'm going to take the time to do that. So I'm glad that it turned out good. There are some things I learned, as you always do when you try something new. So
Right.
I'll be able to apply that to the next smoking session.
Like don't catch
Sounds
things
good.
on fire.
We'll be in line.
Yeah. Wait, I'm sorry, David. Something about catching on fire?
You said like don't catch things on fire.
Right. Like don't catch things on fire. Which happened just a little.
Sound advice.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. But it was all good. It was all good. The trick was the brown sugar, guys. It caramelized, it sweetened. That was the trick. If I didn't brown sugar it, I don't know. But we're talking about smoked meats and barbecues. Ladies and gentlemen, chickens, ducks, and hens, we hope you're having a good time. We thank you for joining us on this level. We're gonna jump right into the games. And those games are what we have been playing. Now, gentlemen, if you don't mind, I'm going to take points on this.
Okay.
Because I've been playing some games, but I got to be truthful about something. There was a game that I said by the time this episode records and airs, I'll have it beat.
Mm.
And you know what? I didn't beat it.
You saw that coming.
Because something else got in the way. However, I think when it's all said and done, this game will rank in my top favorites. I don't know if it's going to be in my top hundreds, but it's going to be one of my favorites. So I have been playing Inside. That's the game I'll talk about first.
Okay.
Now, hopefully the players, if you guys remember, there's a game called Limbo I talked about that I hated, and I hate beat it. This is the sequel or follow-up to that game. It's made by the same developer. The game is from a runtime, from a playtime, considerably shorter, which I think works in its benefit. And also just the way they approached the graphics and the sound and the ambiance and the puzzles, the way that they present the puzzles for you to solve, I think is exponentially better. And it has been a fantastic experience. It's like playing an animated movie, it feels like.
Wow.
It's just so great. The animations are top notch, top tier. Everything feels fluid and smooth. When you fail like some puzzles, like you're getting chased by people, there's some parts where you're getting chased and these people have guns, right? And from what I've experienced so far, the game doesn't have music. It just has ambient sound. And it takes place in the dark and you're escaping in the midst of the night. And there's a couple times obviously I failed. Because I've said before, I hate puzzles. Why I'm playing a puzzle platformer again, I don't know, but I'm playing it. But when there were a couple times where I failed and they shot the guns, and the feeling of the guns, like that sound, is so sharp in how quiet everything else is. And I think that's just another attention to detail they gave to the game as far as the auditory experience you have with it. It is top tier stuff. This game is absolutely incredible. I'm looking forward to finishing it. But that's a game I've been playing. I was hoping to have it beat before we aired or before we recorded here. Didn't get to that because I got sidetracked by another game I've been playing. And that game is a game I played before. It's Stardew Valley.
Oh.
I decided I was looking for another game to play on my Steam Deck. And I'm like, well, I got Stardew Valley already. I mean, I put 40 hours of it, put 40 hours in on my Nintendo Switch. I don't think I'm gonna fire this up and play it long. I've already played it. 15 hours later, I'm getting ready to play some more Stardew Valley. I don't know what it is about this game, man. I don't know what it is about it, but I can't stop. It just hooks you, and you just keep playing it. And so I know, obviously, too, because of past experience, I have better abilities and I have a better strategy for my next run on how to make more money, how to progress in the mine more, get to the bottom, and different stuff like that. So I've been playing that, been farming right now. I'm farming some hops, say those for some beers. I'm farming hot peppers. I'm waiting for the blueberries to pop. I'm in the summer right now. You know what I'm saying? Went to the whatever festival it is and stocked up on strawberry seeds for the next spring, so I can rake in a bunch of money.
Who are you trying to get with in that game?
See, here's the thing, man. I can't focus on that.
What?
I know it's another part. That part feels so detached for me from the rest of it. I just want to farm.
That town is full of baddies, bro.
Yeah, I know. But
pixelated baddies, like you can't turn around with seeing one of them. Like, come on, man.
But here's the thing, I'm walking around. My name is Ert, right? So my name is Ert. It's ERT. It's all lowercase. I didn't want to put too much thought into my name, so I just went with whatever the keyboard gave me. I just named my character Ert.
I just looked down at it. I'm like, those are next to each other.
Yeah, ERT is right next to each other. I just went with that, and I'm rolling with it. So it's Ert's Farm, and I'm just doing my thing. You know what I'm saying? I can't invest too much into the relationship part. I want to make more money first, and then I'll do that. You know what I'm saying? The baddies will always be there, but you know what draws the baddies in? Honey. What's the honey? Money. You know what I'm saying? You just got to change the first letter. So those are mostly been the games I've been playing. I've played a little bit of other games, but I would say it was mostly the 2 games I've been playing.
Okay. Hey man, not bad. I'll jump in if that's okay.
Yeah.
I think last time we were on the podcast, I was talking about Tears of the Kingdom, expressing my joy and love for it. And I've made a mistake, guys. I've done this. I've talked to you about it already, so it's not a surprise to you two, but it might be a surprise to the audience. 2 big games came out, and I purchased Diablo 4, and I purchased Street Fighter 6 while I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom. I don't know why I do this stuff. I don't have enough time for 3 games at the same time. So I haven't even put Tears of the Kingdom on the back burner either. I've been playing that, and I'm still really, really enjoying it. And I'm doing the same stuff I was doing where, I'm like, okay, maybe finally I'll start like this main mission, this really big dungeon. And I go through and I get to a point where it's like I'm really close to actually getting to the dungeon, after having to do all these little like side quests to get there. And by the time I get to the dungeon part, I'm like, you know what? Let me just check out this one area before I go. And that turns into a 10-hour escapade where I'm traveling all over the world, going to new towns I've never visited. And it just makes the game such a joy. Like I said, the creativity of trying to figure things out. Just a beautiful game all around. I've been playing that when I've been by myself. When I've been with my wife or my brother or my buddy Eric, it's been Diablo 4. And Diablo 4 has been magnificent. Like, these 2 games combined are like just, whew. When I'm by myself, Tears of the Kingdom. When I want co-op multiplayer, Diablo 4 is where it's at. It's got, I said it was more of the same in our PvP level, and that's 100% true, but that same is great.
It's a great saying.
The routine of going in the open world, going in dungeons, in caves, and just slaughtering hundreds of enemies, almost like Vampire Survivor. But in this one, you get that gear that you want, that next level up, and it's addicting, it's enticing, it's fun. I pulled 2 legendaries today within a span of 5 minutes.
Dang.
And that is an adrenaline bump to you, let me tell you. When they drop and 2 minutes later another one drops, and just seeing those stats and the things that they give you, the different bonuses and skills, it's a lot of fun. It's a great co-op game. I've been playing with my wife on the same console. It's hop in, hop out. She presses start on her controller. Her character's made. She just jumps right in very easily. I've been playing with Eric. He's on PC. Very easily. Press the touchpad, invite him. They did a great job of making it as seamless as possible.
That's good to hear.
Not a perfect game, real skeezy with the microtransactions and the armor sets, and they're gonna have a battle pass later. So they're trying to take all the money. It's already a $70 game, and they add all this on top of it. But it's just tough, man. When a game is that good, you don't look past those things, but those things don't matter as much. And yes, of course, Street Fighter 6. As I said, I don't have enough time to play 3 games, so Street Fighter 6 has been on the back burner.
Yeah.
Played my brother in a couple. He was at my house. Played him a couple times. That was a lot of fun. I jumped into the story mode just to see what it's about. Hilarious. It's an open world city where I'm walking around and there's a lady walking to work with a purse. I want to challenge you. And we fight. And I kick her butt. And that's everyone. Anyone in the entire city you can challenge to a fight. They have different levels. And it's just so goofy. I fought a mime. Like that was great. It was just so goofy. And I'm looking forward to jumping into that when I beat one of these games. Now, unfortunately, Tears of the Kingdom looks like it's a 100-hour game. Diablo 4, while the main story isn't extremely long, the whole game is just replaying and perfecting that character. So we'll see.
I mean, what do you think? Probably at least like 30, 40, maybe 50 hours in
Diablo?
Yeah.
Diablo, probably around 60, 70.
Yeah.
I could easily see myself putting into that. So I'm going to be good. I'm skipping Final Fantasy 16, which comes out in 7 or 8 days. I'm skipping it. I don't care if it gets...
Right, but you're not, though.
I am. I'm skipping it. I'm skipping it, guys.
I can't. It's like a 9
you're not.
higher.
I can't.
Reviews,
I can't. I'm making the vow right now. I don't care what it receives rating wise. If it gets 10 out of 10s across the board, I am not buying this game for a little while. And by a little while, I mean at least a month or so. If I end up beating Tears of the Kingdom and Diablo, sure, I can buy it, but I'm not buying it. It's too much. It's too much. Right, I have to change my ways. I have to
see what your word means.
By the time I get to Street Fighter 6, I'm going to see it on the PlayStation Store for $30 sale. So I can't do it anymore. So that's what I've been playing. I've been having a wonderful time. This has been great for me. So very happy. David, how about you, man?
I haven't been playing too much. I've been going to concerts and barbecues.
T-Swift.
But the usual Apex, Overwatch, but I have been playing a lot on my phone. I've been playing a lot of Royal Match. It's basically Candy Crush, just another form, and BeatStar. So, pretty simple. Just unlocking songs, leveling up.
Have you given up on Eat Venture?
I have not opened that game up in a while. Yeah. I don't know. Like I got all the dopamine from that game or serotonin, whatever one of those chemicals.
You got it, and you're done with it. Yeah, it's been a struggle. I would want to play more, but how much you got to make AD and AE? Kick rocks. I got normal games to play. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, and actually the same for Vampire Survivor. I haven't played that since before Eat Venture. Yeah. But I hear they just added a new level.
Did they?
So I might have to. Yeah, my coworker also plays it, and he told me that yesterday. So I'll have to look into it.
Just mobile or all around, like PC as well?
I don't know. He plays mobile, so
okay.
It's at least mobile.
I'll have to check it out. Let my wife know.
Me too.
If there's a new Vampire Survivors level, I could jump into that real quick. I pretty much went, full speed ahead on that, and that's all I played for like a week or two. So
right.
Yeah. Gotta get caught up on
little
that.
Quick ADHD fixations,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. You guys want to jump in the topics?
Sure.
Yes.
Sure. Okay. I'm
excited. I'm excited about yours. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
Me too. I think I know, but I'm not. I want to at least hear one of you guys first. But okay. If you were working in the video game industry, what would your position be? there's nothing holding back. Say you worked a couple years, you became CEO of the company, or you did all the schooling and you're a programmer, was whatever. All background work is done and you accomplished it.
Cory, are you wanting to go first?
Jeremy, I'll let you take it because I don't think you have the kahoonies to pick what I was gonna pick. So mine will be fresh. Like you want to, but you won't. So go ahead, pick your little programmer or something.
Oh, that's crazy. No, I would want to be the game lead, like the lead of the project, right? So like lead designer or something like that, right? Whatever Todd Howard, I'm gonna call him, whatever Todd Howard, like Bethesda, something like that, like would do, right? Like I would want to do that because I would want to be able to oversee the scope and story and help build the world and the direction of the game, right? I feel like in other positions they can be somewhat localized to what you can do and what you can influence. So like, I think of like, let's see, the breadth of a story, something bloated like a AC Valhalla, not on my watch. You're not going to throw a bloated game out there on my watch. When I'm in that position, I can say, hey, you need to scale this bad boy back like 50%, 60%. And I think being in a game lead position allows you to do that. You can look at a story. You may not be, you can help write it, but also help control the direction of the writing, what the themes are, all those different things like that. And then also you can help, you might not have much power, but you can stand up to the powers that be and say, hey, we need 6 more months on this game if you want it to be right. And EA can come at me and say, hey, we got stockholders. And I can say, well, guess what? Those stockholders can kick rocks. This is my game. I put my name on it. I mean, it'd be the perfect position to be in. That's the one I would choose.
Okay.
All right, Jeremy, you've been a fine employee for this company, but as CEO, I'm going to have to unfortunately let you go.
Yeah, I saw that coming.
Jeremy, you remind me of that Office episode where Dwight Schrute is like, "I'm the assistant to the devil." Like, really? You don't want to be the main? You don't want to be the main guy? Like, you can do all the things the lead designer does as the CEO, but have all of the money, have all of the decisions. You don't have to go, hey, we need 6 more months. You just take 6 more months. You are the big brains of the operation. You provide the money, you hire the people that you think will do the job best. And I'm a guy who like loves IP games, right? Like I love when like my favorite properties get turned into games. And I can just imagine myself being like, how's that Turtles IP looking? You want us to make a 4-player co-op action game out of it? Like, that'd be my dream, man, to own a freaking game studio, be the man, hire the people.
So you're saying that for one, you would want to be someone that doesn't have any of the requisite skills to create, right?
Yeah, for sure. I don't want to be some worker bee.
So you want to have like no creative skill. You just want to be someone that's in there that would be beholden to stockholders. So if a game or a studio doesn't perform that much, other people who want money just as much, if not more than you, would be able to tell you that you got to kick rocks and go someplace else.
I mean,
because the studio's not making enough money.
This isn't PvP, Jeremy, all right? I'm just the big picture guy. I'm the one that dreams of these worlds. And I tell the creative director, like, hey, we're going to make this game. And if he doesn't like it, he's gone. I'll get a different creative director to make that game. All right? Because I have dreams and I have thoughts, but I also want to be a billionaire.
Right, but they also may not be good thoughts because you don't have creativity. You're just someone with.
I do.
With typically with just an MBA or something. You're just a business major.
Right.
Right. Who can tell them, hey,
the company. You have to deal with the stockholders, and you have to deal with all the accusations coming in at your.
I mean, hey, man,
accusations. I'm running a really nice place. All right. It's only women.
You're pushing for billions.
It's all. Why do you think I fired Jeremy?
Okay. Look, if you're aspiring to be in a position as precarious as that, I mean, hey, more power to you. I would prefer to be inspired creatively with the people around me and in my role. But if you're like, hey, I want to be able to make, Iron Man versus Blade, the game, and that's what you want to do. I mean, more power to you. And then if it doesn't go right, and Marvel pulls his IP and Kevin Feige says that, hey, we don't want you to make anything else with you're fired, and your stockholders agree and you're out. I mean, it is what it is. I can't, and that's what you aspire to. That's what you aspire to. I empower you to do that,
Yeah, 100%. David, what about you, man? Now that my dreams have been stomped on.
Yeah, your dreams that you just had to go thinking of for the last 10 minutes. I don't know. It's really hard. There's so many directions. I
feel like
I
you'd want to
feel
be
like
like music.
I want to. Yeah, like maybe a video game music producer or a story writer. Maybe not the game lead, but just the one that writes stories and then takes criticism and ideas and stuff. And so if I could write a game like Skyrim or create a game like Apex, whatever, like I think that would be pretty cool. Worker bee or not.
Listen, that's a great spot too. All right. I'm just saying, as the owner of the company, like we saw that news article years ago, I think, where the Grand Theft Auto, the Rockstar owners were like, we worked 100 hours, we wrote. Like if I wanted to, I could jump into the writing booth and like I'm writing the story, or I'm taking mocap and I'm acting in one of these roles. Just saying, all right, just saying. That's a great position though, the writer. You can make your stories come to life, man, and that's cool.
Right.
I mean, here's the thing. I think me and Cory are kind of thinking in one spot of we don't want to get worker bee because they're expendable. We want to be in some kind of position of power there. I think in my spirit, I would probably want to be something like a story writer. I just fear that it would be, you hear like a lot of cases, like, you got 2 people, 3 people working on the team. They write this great game and then 1 or 2 of them get more credit than the other one. And the other one's bitter someplace else. And like, hey, I wrote I wrote the original story around Mario. And you're like, that's not what nobody says, dude. Everybody else is saying this guy wrote it. I don't know what's going on.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, I think any of these positions we would any position we're talking about, we'd love to be in, I think.
Fair. And I think that the roles we picked really match with the hierarchy of this podcast. So that's cool.
You would say that. You would say that 100%.
I'm awake. It's weird.
Yeah.
Like, am I dreaming? Am I having a nightmare?
Right. I do like it's very interesting. I do like that. I've always kind of secretly wanted to, hey, would it be cool to kind of write a game or something like that? So, it's kind of
it's probably not too far off from writing a movie.
Have you ever tried, like, because they have programs that are pretty, like, I think would be acceptable to write a game.
Yeah.
Like you see stuff like RPG Maker where those people made a game in RPG Maker and they made it like an indie game that's like very popular.
Right. Yeah. Explored that kind of stuff a little bit, but it feels like when you're going that route, and I feel like, we've kind of even been exposed to that with like some of the indie developers we've talked to, like you're doing everything on yourself and you have to learn everything.
Right.
Like,
It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Major respect.
Yeah. But yeah, if there was some like little indie game that was like, hey, we like a writer to just come in and kind of just write a story. We can't afford to pay you anything, but you get credit and I'm like, you know what? How long is this game supposed to be? An hour and a half, 2 hours? I'll write you a 2-hour game. I can do that in my spare time. No problem. It'd be cool to do something like that. But I'm going to move on to my topic. Speaking of time, that reminds me. So, we'll be going into it more. People, make sure you look out for it on our YouTube channel where we give our reactions to the Xbox Game Showcase. But Xbox did have their game showcase, and part of that game showcase was the Starfield Direct. The Starfield Direct, I think it was like 45, maybe 50 minutes of Bethesda, Todd Howard, and the team talking about Starfield, the game, everything they've put into it, thoughts and different stuff like that. And I mean, I'll admit it here. I'll admit it more in the reactions, but I'll admit it here. Your boy is sold.
Oh,
so it's looking that good for you, huh?
Your boy is right now. I mean, I gotta check out some things with Best Buy. Best Buy, get back at me as soon as you can. Your boy's in the middle of trying to acquire a Starfield controller.
Oh,
I mean, I'm that sold on it, right? So yeah, Bethesda got me, man. They were like, check this out. We're going to give you those Elder Scrolls vibes again. So the game looks great. By all accounts, they're saying it's the most polished Bethesda game they've ever released, which isn't a high bar.
I was just say, is that saying a lot?
It is what it is, right? But the thing that I was most taken away with was the fact that I think part of it is because they gave me 45 minutes with this game. They talked through the process, they talked through the different things they're doing, and they gave me 45 minutes with this game. Now, obviously, we've seen other games. I think Zelda had like a 10-minute direct or something, or there were some other games that have like 10 or 15-minute gameplay, extended gameplay things. But I've not really seen a lot of games go to the length of a 45 minutes, an hour of just talking about their game and everything they're putting into it. And I found an immense amount of value in that. And so I'm wondering, what do we think about AAA games like offering kind of more detailed directs on their big games like this? Because I feel like not only does it serve to maybe convert some people that are a bit more, you know, on the fence like I was, but I also think that if I had had more times, if I had had 45 minutes of gameplay of Pokemon Arceus, I wouldn't have bought it. So so inversely, right? Like, it felt like it gave me more insight. What do we think about that? Do we think, hey, maybe like what do you feel about something like that?
Go ahead, David.
Okay. I think in a sense it's good because, like you said, you're getting more insight, you're getting a better opinion on the game, you're having a better idea of if you want to put the money into it or not. But I don't know if it's great for showcases like this, because a 2-hour showcase is going to turn into a 6-hour showcase. If like the gaming companies like Bethesda had their own little, hey, here's 45 minutes of this game for you guys, yeah, I think that'd be a great idea. Because, like, for example, the Hellblade 2, it was a couple minutes. It'd be amazing. I would sit there and watch a 45-minute trailer or whatever you want to call it of the Hellblade 2. Get a better insight on it, and just more hype. More talk, more everything. So, yeah, I would think having more of these is a good idea on kind of like their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Sony does this from time to time. Like, they had one on Ghost of Tsushima before it came out, Horizon, stuff like that. You guys know me. I love showcases. I love watching these things.
Yep.
I do not like the game specific ones at all. I have zero interest. I did not watch the Starfield one. No interest to going into it. I'm kind of in a weird spot to where if I don't really have an interest in a game, I'm not going to watch 45 minutes on it, or a half hour. And if I have interest in the game, then as long as it doesn't bomb when it comes out, I'm going to get it. So it leaves me in a weird spot where, like, it doesn't excite me, because a lot of times these 45-minute ones get really into the weeds. They get into the systems that you'll be seeing throughout the game. I'm going to experience that throughout the game. I don't need, a 10-minute, like, crafting, section, like, hey, and here's the crafting system. Like, I'm going to be doing that for hours and hours and hours and hours on end when I play this game. I like the 2-minute trailers where it's like bombastic and exciting, and it shows like bullet points of like things I can look forward to. But I don't really want to watch 45 minutes. Even like when Sony did their showcase, they showed off 10 minutes of Spider-Man. That was a little too much. Like, they pretty much showed off an entire mission, which, awesome. It looked amazing. It's not going to be as amazing when I play that exact mission that they just showed me. If they want to show the beginning of the mission, if they want to show, like highlights of it, cool. I'm excited for that. But no, I don't really want to watch these 45-minute ones. I can't remember the last one I've watched of it. I didn't watch the Zelda one for 10 minutes. I know I didn't watch the Horizon or the Ghost. And I almost feel like the Ghost of Tsushima one would have put me off of that game, because I remember turning it on for like a quick couple minutes, and it was him sneaking around stealthily. And I turned it off. I'm like, this kind of looks boring, So 45 minutes of like this gameplay of someone else, it doesn't do it for me really. So no, I don't like these. I understand why they're very positive for people, but for me personally, no, don't really feel like watching them.
I get what you're saying. It's,
yeah.
It's understandable.
Yeah. I think something like that really works for is a game like Starfield where there are so many systems. So, rather than you like you were saying with Spider-Man, stepping through a whole mission, even in 45 minutes, there's not enough time to step through a whole mission because we're going to tell you about the system of, hey, we have starship building in this game, and let's show you 2 minutes of that. And hey, there's obviously like dialogue in different branchings of different cities. Let's show you, maybe 45 seconds to a minute of maybe just a few cities, right? So there's like little bits and pieces here that end up adding up to those 45 minutes, where I think a lot of games, if they aren't, I mean, by all accounts, Starfield's going to be a 100+ hour game.
Right.
I feel like if, it is something like a Horizon or a God of War, you're talking about a 20, to 30-hour game, then yeah, I think if you're doing like a in-depth direct, you're not going more than 15, 20 minutes. Like you really can't go further than that.
Right.
And even then, it just depends on the complexity of the systems. And also with something like a Horizon and a Spider-Man, they're also, just like those as examples, they're also sequels. So it feels like, well, there may be new systems you're introducing, but how in depth and how much can you really explore that, So I feel like, yeah, it's definitely not for every game. And I can understand like, hey, I just want a really brief showing sample of what this game may be at its heights, at its most interesting, I guess, but I also found it interesting with Starfield. It was getting more information and understanding everything they've put into the game that allowed me to therefore, and seeing how it works, that allowed me to therefore be convinced that, okay, I feel like they've put enough time and thought into this product, and therefore now I have a different opinion of what I think it may be. And so therefore it spins my apprehension to be a much more excited for the product, I guess. But again, that won't work for everyone. And I don't think that, yeah, it'll work for every game. So
that's fair.
Really depends.
Like for Starfield, I feel like it's a brand new game, of course, made by Bethesda though, where you get Elder Scrolls and Fallout. I feel like I have a really good idea of the kind of stuff I'm going to, like how the mechanics of that game work and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I kind of like make my mind up on games months and months in advance. And like I said, unless they pull a Redfield or a Redfall, then I'm probably going to buy them. Like I haven't watched much on Final Fantasy 16. I know it's by Square Enix. I know it's Final Fantasy. Unless it bombs, I'm going to pick it up at some point. Same thing with Starfield. I know who it's made by. I've enjoyed every one of their games. I kind of have an idea of how the movement, the combat, all that stuff is going to work to an extent. I don't need to see it. It's fine. I'm happy other people have it. I could watch it if I wanted to, but it's just like I'm going to play it and I'm going to experience those things. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's tough. I don't really know. And like I said, it's kind of weird coming from me because I love these things, but
yeah, I was surprised you went the opposite way with that.
I mean, I can understand like looking at something and saying, do we need 45 minutes of looking at this game? Like I understand that. And especially like Cory, like you were saying, like, do I want to get introduced to I want to be exploring these systems. I want to be utilizing these systems. That's kind of the way I want to experience them, is just organically being introduced to them in the first time. I feel like with certain games, like especially like those, I feel like the real kind of feeling and aha moments aren't from exactly being in being revealed or having those systems be revealed, but understanding and unearthing the depth of those systems.
Okay.
So that's where I kind of feel like it's not just the fact that you showed me a minute or two of shipbuilding. It's how in depth can I go with this? Like how granular can I get with it, right? So I think it's certain things like that. But then again, like I said, to me, I think the biggest differentiator is this is a 200-hour plus game. Right. And that's the reason why this can be this way. And I don't think that's going to be the case for 90% of games.
And you did say that you probably would have downloaded it no matter what for Game Pass, but you did say you were kind of on the fence.
Yeah.
So 45 minutes learning what this game is about was like probably perfect for you. You got to see everything that this game, has to offer. Not everything, but a lot of systems that it has to offer. And it sold you. Like I said, for me, I feel like I'm already sold. It's going to be on Game Pass. I'm going to download it. I'm going to play it. So, and then I don't know. That's how I feel. But yeah, for someone who's on kind of like the edge, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And going back to Ghost of Tsushima, I was the exact opposite. I was off the edge because I didn't want to buy it. And, it was just, so I had no interest in watching that. I'm like, I'm not going to get this game. So, but we see how that turned out. Love that game.
Yeah. I think that's almost kind of like the same way with, I'm kind of that way with you. I think it depends on the game and maybe some aspects of that too, because also like, I don't need any trailers of City Skylines 2 to know I'm going to get that.
Yeah.
I don't need to see it. I'm just going to get it. So yeah, in that aspect, I'm kind of more like that. But I do, maybe it's the fact that you might need that for games you're unsure of, right? Or you have an idea of what you think a game is, and you want to watch this to make sure it either verifies your assumptions and biases, or that it contradicts them and it exposes you to a different perspective on something.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a game where I would be like very excited to go 45 minutes into, and I don't know why this is, but I feel like whenever a Super Smash Bros comes out, like I'll watch anything that puts out, and that's usually because of what characters are they going to announce. So, for Starfield, I guess maybe I know about the thousands of planets already. I don't know the crafting systems, the ship building. I don't know. I guess maybe I just kind of saw those things through the grapevine or read them through the grapevine or rumors, and it was kind of like I am excited for it. So
I was thinking they might be better suited for people who can only get 1 or 2 games a year, so having more info, more time from a trailer will help them decide which one they get if they're really on the fence between two. And then also maybe teenagers and younger, they need to get money from their parents to buy the games, and if they're having the same issue, they have a longer trailer to watch. You're like, okay, I really want this game, so I know to ask my parents for this game every month or whatever, instead of asking like, hey, can I have this game? Oh, can I have this game? So it also helps younger people as well.
Yeah, and I also think there's some games that just thematically or just their systems, they don't need it. So like, let's look like Hellblade 2, right? So like the first Hellblade was like 7-8 hours, I think. Right. I'm assuming that this one's going to be probably twice as long. So let's say like 15 to 16,
a good 10, 15 minute thing would have been good. Not 45.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like you measure it like 45 minutes of Hellblade. What, I'm going to be scared for 45 minutes? I don't want to be scared for 45 minutes. I'm going to be scared for 10, 15 hours playing this game. So, but yeah, like something like a 10 to maybe 15 minutes, or maybe it's like a 8 to 10 minutes of just like giving you more insight into different things. Again, Hellblades isn't a heavily system-based game, so you don't really need time like that.
Dive into.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like I do know like a good example would be like back when we were younger, like Final Fantasy X. That would have been a good one for me because at that time I didn't really understand the sphere grid too much. I knew what it did, but I didn't really have a strategy for it. I just tried to collect everything for everybody. And then also like the Blitzball section, I was terrible at that game. I didn't understand how to win. Like I won once for a challenge or whatever, and that was it. And if they went in depth about strategies and stuff with that, like that would have been cool and very helpful.
Yeah, just like a base understanding of like what to do. Yeah. Gotcha.
Let me ask you, Jeremy, Starfield, does it have a chance at getting a 10 out of 10 from, media outlets? Now that you've watched this 45-minute showcase.
Dun, dun, dun.
No, because because I think expectations there's two things. A, as much as I hate to admit it, there is an Xbox bias. There just is. And number two, I
mostly from this show.
One could argue, but I think in the media it's fairly obvious that like it's a bias. Like Forspoken was pretty bad. Maybe not Redfall bad, but it got nowhere near as much bad press as Redfall did. So number two, I think there's just really too high of expectations from Bethesda. Bethesda does great things. Bethesda doesn't really I don't know what the words like cater to media,
Okay.
I mean, like use them as an example, like a Naughty Dog does, right? Like the media, like games media loves Naughty Dog, even though they crunch their employees to death. But you know, Bethesda, I don't think really has it, and I think you combine those two. That look, here's the thing: I think it will be the best reviewed Xbox exclusive in a while.
Okay.
I do think the game will get really well reviewed, but I don't think it gets. Maybe it gets 1 or 2 10 out of 10s. Maybe.
I think it gets a few 10 out of 10s. I
I
don't
think
see
Say
how
like
it does it.
Metacritic score. Do you think in 90s, high
Yeah.
80s?
Yeah, I'm thinking
Nah.
90s.
Yeah, I mean it's their first huge. I guess Fallout 4 that came after Skyrim, so Fallout 4 was a little bit of a not a disappointment, but just a little bit less than Skyrim. I don't know.
Yeah,
I see 10 out of 10s in its future.
It's also like it's Bethesda's biggest game. It's the biggest
Yeah,
game
for
they've
sure.
ever made. So
For sure.
Yeah.
So if that game gets 10 out of 10s, we saw Zelda get 10 out of 10s. Maybe Diablo got a few. I think Street Fighter got a few. It's a great year for gaming, gentlemen. Lots of these perfect masterpiece scores. I want to know what encompasses a 10 out of 10 game for you. What does it need to have? And it's like fascinating to me. Like I would also like to know, like offhand, how many 10 out of 10s you think you would rate, you know, your top games. You know, do you have like 4 or 5? Do you have 0? You know, some people think 10 out of 10 means perfect. I don't look at it that way because obviously no game is perfect. I look at it as a masterpiece of its genre. So what do you think, you know, makes a 10 out of 10 game for you guys?
yeesh.
That's difficult.
It's a very difficult question. Very difficult.
I got a yeesh.
David, did you want to kind of offer your initial thoughts on that? Like,
Yeah, I'll throw out some stuff and maybe have to come back, but I do know that the gameplay has to be smooth. If it's like some actiony game, we'll go like with like The Last of Us. You know, going from hiding behind something to getting out and shooting and running, it flows very well. If it's choppy, that's just going to take points away right away. And then graphics have to be consistent, I guess. No like tearing, ripping. I don't care if it looks like Diablo 4. I don't care if it looks like Super Mario Brothers. Just be, you know, have the graphics be good in a sense of quality, not in a sense of how it looks, I guess. I don't know how to explain it. And then the music has to go well. And I know music isn't a win it or break it kind of situation, but if there's like a boss fight going on and I'm hearing happy dance music, it's not going to go well. You know, so emotion is everything when it comes to the music. And I don't know. Probably how the story goes.
Yeah.
You know, I can't really stand a lot of M. Night Shyamalan stuff. So
Yeah.
as long as it's not weird, stupid twists like that at the end, you know, that's all I got right now. I have to think a little bit more.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad. It's probably like, wait, it's different than mine because I can't really. It's hard for me to kind of categorize. I just feel like all those things you kind of mentioned, though, for me, like a 10 out of 10 is when like all those things work harmoniously together. Like they all work together.
Right. Yes.
And there's not an instance where something detracts from the experience of the other thing and it kind of like takes you out of it. So like that's why for me 10 out of 10s are so hard. So like you mentioned a couple of 10 out of 10s. I haven't played Zelda. I remember I watched The Last of Us. That's a 10 out of 10 for a lot of people. It's not for me because there are some elements, mostly in the theme, that kind of jar it apart, the experience for me. But I'll be the one to admit that many of the things in that game work harmoniously together to create that experience. And so I think that's really hard for a game to do. But
if I could ask you both real quick, what does a 10 out of 10 mean to you? Because I kind of described it as, for me, it doesn't mean perfect. It just means a masterpiece of its genre. Is that kind of like where you guys are both at as well, or?
Yeah, I think that a 10 out of 10 for me means that this game is exceptional and it belongs in the pantheon of being one of the best ever made within its genre.
Okay.
Like that's what it means.
How about you, David?
I mean, that kind of makes sense. Like I'm addicted to like Apex and Overwatch, but I give those like a 7 or 8 at best. They're not perfect games
What?
in my opinion. But
7?
7 or 8, yeah, they could be better. But the only game thinking of as growing up, I like Resident Evil 4 and like Omno.
Wow.
Omno,
Wow.
I loved the crap out of that game. It was so magnificently done. Kudos to that guy that made it.
Wow.
I can't remember his name right now. I follow him on Twitter. He's making another game actually.
Oh, okay.
And Resident Evil 4, that was just my favorite one. It just blew the other ones out of the park.
Jeremy, do you have your thought to finish? I'm sorry.
No. That's pretty much it. Yeah, it's in the pantheon of the best. That's why, like, I mean, I feel like I'm someone that rips on 10 out of 10 rated games all the time, while also admitting that many of the games that I enjoy are not well-made games. I feel like it's really important to have that kind of transparency with yourself. So yeah, that's why when we brought it up a long time before, but when I look online and I see that Grand Theft Auto 4 got a 10 out of 10, you're telling me that Grand Theft Auto 4 is in the pantheon of some of the greatest open world games ever made? That sounds absurd, right?
I mean,
So
at the time, maybe, right? No, not even
No.
at the time.
not even at the time.
There. I wouldn't have given it a 10 out of 10
So
personally.
so yeah, that's kind of what I look at it as. But like, if they're saying if 10 out of 10 for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, is this in the pantheon of one of the greatest action adventure games ever made? Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably.
Elden Ring is it in the pantheon? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. For me, guys.
Oh,
go
I
ahead,
did
David,
think
go
of
ahead.
another one.
Okay.
Your game has to just work properly as well. Like so, like
I feel like that kind of goes without saying.
Yeah, but I mean, like one of the reasons Apex isn't 10 is because there's quite a few audio issues. There's quite a few hit regs that just don't, like you shoot the person and it doesn't register as a hit and stuff like that. Like that's the most important part is hearing your enemy and shooting your enemy. That should work 100% of the time.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. Now for me, gentlemen, you guys had mentioned like it has to be all encompassing, every part of the game. I actually kind of like David mentioned, I don't care about the graphics at all. Like it could be horrible graphics. It can actually have, like we had talked about music. Music doesn't really matter. It definitely enhances the experience. But for me, I'm looking for the gameplay, and I guess this is kind of the same thing, but the gameplay loop. Like if the gameplay is amazing, but it kind of fizzles out after a couple hours, like it's not going to be up there for me. But if the gameplay loop stays consistent and fun throughout the entirety, or it has an amazing story, those are the two things that can kind of propel a game to me to be 10 out of 10. A great gameplay and gameplay loop, or an amazing story. And if your game has both of those at the same time, then it becomes one of my favorite games of all time, not just a 10 out of 10. But when I say like good gameplay, it's got to be top of its class. It's got to be almost like head and shoulders above the competition. I have to be playing it and being like, this is some of the best gameplay I've ever had in terms of, an action game, or like this puzzle is the best puzzle game I've ever played. It's tough. David, you had mentioned that you had like 2 10 out of 10s. Mm-hmm. Jeremy, do you kind of have
any games like in my favorites that I would say is a 10 out of 10?
Just it's kind of tough because like you don't think Last of Us is a 10 out of 10.
I don't.
And like even though it looks like a 10 out of 10, like you shouldn't personally rate it a 10 out of 10.
Right. I think there's a lot of elements of it that are not 10 out of 10. If I had to give maybe my own 2 games that I would say are 10 out of 10, I would say one of those would be Skyrim, probably.
Okay.
And there's the crazy thing with that is that Skyrim is a 10 out of 10 in spite of itself.
Okay.
It does so many good things and innovates so in so many ways that you're like, I'm okay that this game kind of breaks every 45 minutes. I'm okay that it does that. In the other one that I would say is probably Grand Theft Auto 5.
Wow.
Because you think of when Grand Theft Auto 5 came out, and you think of even the impact still of what it is, the size of the map, everything that it does. I mean, I think I'd say that's a 10 out of 10. But I mean, those are some of my favorite games. Skyrim's maybe in like my top 100s or whatever, and I think maybe Grand Theft Auto 5 is too. But I've got some freaking 5 out of 10s and some 6 out of 10s in there.
So let me wrap my head around this. How does this game was a 10 out of 10 for me, but it's rated lower than a 5 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10? Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Well, no, not that it's a 10 out of 10, but that it's like within my favorite, in spite of it not being a good game, right? That's more so what I'm lending to. So it's like trying to reconcile when a game gets a 10 out of 10. We're saying like masterpiece, best in its class, best in its genre. I mean, if we really assess a lot of these games, are we truly feeling that? I mean, obviously the reviewers are, but it's kind of hard because it's such a qualitative thing, right? It's like it's so based upon like your own like ideas and perspectives, that then try to quantify it and say, well, it's a 10 out of 10 with this, even though it could possibly have a lot of issues or whatever. Like it's kind of hard. It's hard to say.
That's why I'm finding it tough. Like, to me, like if we go through our top 50 list, like, you know, I don't know how many 10 out of 10 games I have. I don't really like rate games out of 10, but I would assume maybe like a dozen or 15. You know, I've been gaming for 30 years.
You would assume most of your games you would classify as 10 out of 10.
No,
for me, like most of the games in your like top 50.
I'm telling you, at some point, every game forward would be a 10 out of 10, because my favorite games to me are 10 out of 10, regardless of the flaws, because they're my favorite games, and that's what I would rate them. So, like, David, you know, not to call you out, I don't know. I don't know if Apex, you know, makes like your top games. I would have to assume.
Yes.
I don't know how it's a 7, because if you're willing, if you love it that much,
issues that it has,
because it has issues. Yeah.
But every game has issues. Every single game. There is no perfect game. And that's why I'm saying, like, the 10 out of 10 to me is the feeling I get from, you know, like Wind Waker is easily a 10 out of 10. It was my favorite game for 20 years. Like, legitimately my favorite game. And that has some really horrible spots in that game, you know, where you have to do the Triforce hunt, like in the middle of the ocean. It's a horrible part. But as a whole, that was my favorite game, and it was 100% a 10 out of 10 for me. And, you know, it's going to be on my top 50. Like I said, at some point, we're going to get to, like, number 13. It's like, well, this was a 10 out of 10, and everything above it is a 10 out of 10 as well.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but and at the same time, I guess I don't think of it like that. So I could say, like, one of my favorite, I mentioned it before, one of my favorite games is the Guild 2. Cory, it don't work sometimes. The game just don't work sometimes. I can't give it a 10 out of 10.
What's the experience it gives you, though? How would you rate that?
That's not all all.
Well, see, okay, so therefore, the experience it gives me, I can't quantify that. I can't put a number on the experience it gives me, because the experience that all these favorite games give me, they give me different types of experience. They elicit different types of feelings, and I can't rate whether one gives me, you know, more glee, whether one gives me more of a feeling of empowerment or anything like that. I can't rate whether one of those emotions or the other is worth more and therefore rates higher. But I can try to give a objective view on the quality of the game and say, in spite of it being a 6 out of 10, it's one of my favorite games. I can do that, but it's hard for me to quantify it in any other way. I kind of get what you're saying, whereas, like, if it's one of your favorite games, then it's a 10 out of 10 to you in theory, right? But I guess I can't quantify it that way.
I also get what you're saying, like 100%, fully understand. You said you can't quantify it, but I think at the end of the day, you would be able to, in your heart, be like, man, my experience with the Guild 2 was a better experience than with Limbo. And Limbo at the time got some 10 out of 10s. It was known as a masterpiece of a game, but you would in your heart say, like, man, the Guild 2 gave me way better experiences, way more of my time. And it feels like you can look at Limbo and be like, okay, for a puzzle platformer, it's a 10 out of 10. But for you, it wasn't. But the Guild 2 is kind of a 10 because of how well it's treated you. I don't know. It's very it's very subjective, you know, in terms of I can't be right. I can't be wrong.
Limbo, Limbo is an objectively better made game in every facet. Of course. Yeah.
Yes. But you'll never put it above it on your all-time rankings.
For sure.
So
for sure.
What I think is kind of like going on is, Cory, you're really judging games based on how fitting it was to you as a player.
Right.
Whereas
I'm not a critic. I don't review games professionally.
Right. Exactly. So, and then like the 10 out of 10s the other way is like how you're rating the game itself, not just how you felt playing it. If that makes sense.
Right, like rating the game on the merits of the game versus rating your experience.
I'm not looking at the game as a whole and being like, okay, hey, it was a little glitchy in some spots. The music wasn't great. That kind of knocks it down a point. No, I'm looking at the experience as a whole. Something like Mountain Blade, the multiplayer, with some of the greatest experience I ever had.
Where the loop's kind of going.
That's a janky game. That's an ugly game. It's goofy.
Yep.
But man, that's like a 8.5 or a 9 out of 10 for me. I love it. I love it so much.
So we're being more so critics, and you're being more so gamer.
And I think we're attempting to be for one. I think, Cory, the way you're viewing it is how most people view games.
Right.
Yes.
And it's like one of the things I've always gotten to when I petition people to say, when people say I don't play or I don't love bad games, and I'm like, you do, is just not bad to you, right? But there are games that are objectively not well made. And I think I'm trying to come at it with a more objective standpoint in the quality and how I rate the game. But I try to take it as much of my experience and maybe bias out of it, with understanding that I can't eliminate all of it. Right. So, I have that understanding, but I guess that's what I'm trying to do. So when you're saying, hey, one of your favorite games is a 5 out of 10, I can say, yeah, because I like a lot of bad games. I like a lot of objectively bad games. But yeah, the experience they give me, it's not the experience of a bad game to me, I guess you would say. But if anyone wanted to quantify, they would say this isn't a good game. It's got a lot of issues. So I think that's kind of, but I think the way you're viewing it is the way most people view quality of games and how they deal with games. And I see it all the time. We talk about, this is going to go up on our YouTube. We had a YouTube of a couple of people commenting on our Redfall video. They're like, I love the game. I'm going through a second. To them, it's not a bad game because they're not having a bad experience. This is their 10 out of 10 game experience. It objectively is a bad game, but it's not a bad game for them. For them, it's a great game. So
yeah, I get it. Like I said, something like Red Dead Redemption 2, I can look at it and understand 100% why I got 10 out of 10s.
Right.
I don't like it.
It's not a 10 out of 10 for you.
And guess what? I'm not going to rate it a 10 out of 10.
Right.
I won't.
Exactly.
Because it's not to me. It's not to me. Or even something that's not as bad as that, like The Last of Us 2. I think I can't imagine a game that has its pieces put together better than The Last of Us 2 in terms of story, music, graphics, gameplay. Like if I were to look at that, it's perfect, as close as you can get in my mind. But it's not gonna crack my top 50. Right. And I'm not gonna rate it a 10 out of 10. But I can look at it and be like, man, that's a nearly perfect game. As close as any game I've ever seen.
There will be games that objectively, if you were to be objective in your top 50, that from a quality standpoint is lesser than Last of Us Part 2.
Right, but a rating standpoint, not lesser.
Right.
Because the quality does not equal always the rating that I give it.
Exactly. Right. 100%.
Okay. Hey, great conversation, guys. That was
that.
I like getting into your guys' mindset. Like it's really getting like me to know you guys as gamers, like way beyond just like, I'm playing this game right now. So very interesting to me.
Yeah. Well, I'd be curious, other people, what do you think about that? Because like I said, in a lot of conversations I come across, that's how people view it. Hey, this game doesn't suck. I've put 80 hours into it. I was like, well, you just put 80 hours into a bad game. And that's fine. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. I'm just saying that's what it is. Like if you try to look at it from an objective standpoint, look at me. Like I said, I've put 40, 50 hours into a game that doesn't work half the time. It is what it is. No shame.
Right.
But with that being our topic, we're going to move into a game because it's game time. And that game is Fast as You Can. Ladies and gentlemen, chickens, ducks, and hens. If you don't know, because we haven't played this for a minute, what happens is that we have categories we each come up with, or we want to name something. We have to name something in that category as fast as we can. Kind of like hot potato, a little bit of hot potato, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of like that. So, usually have 3 categories, I believe.
We each pick one.
And we each pick one. So unlike, I believe, previous episodes where we would know kind of what category we were going to pick, we each were going to pick. This time we don't know which category each of us are going to pick. So it's going to be really hectic. And I'm a little bit angry.
I don't know what category I'm going to pick.
A lot out of left field.
So,
Actually, I did think of one while we were talking. So if you guys need time, I can do my category.
Okay. We know what you do yours. I got one, but you do yours first.
Yeah.
Okay. I want you guys to name games that came out at the arcade.
They came out at the arcade.
Arcade games.
Arcade games.
Like legitimately arcade.
Legitimately games. Arcade games. We will do one a series. So
one a series. Okay.
Yeah, because I could name like 20 just off of one series.
Of what series, David?
Don't worry about it.
Okay, Mortal Kombat. David, you want to go next, and then Jeremy?
Yeah, DDR.
That
was mine.
Virtua Fighter.
Pac-Man.
Okay, can I say In the Groove?
I don't know what that is.
It's not DDR, but it is a 4-pad dance game.
Okay, sure.
Okay, yeah. Dino Crisis.
Can I say Miss Pac-Man?
That's in the same, isn't it?
Okay, just ask him. In the Groove is kind of in the same as well.
Is it?
Just pointing
it's the same.
Time Crisis.
Okay, Pump It Up. It's another different 5.
All these dancing games.
I'm going to go House of the Dead.
That's a great one. I will go Alien vs Predator.
Okay.
Light gun game.
Do they have to be released in America?
I mean, I guess not, but
okay. What is the name of it? I think. Beatmania.
How many seconds we giving people, Jeremy?
That was a lot of seconds.
We'll let you go.
I went with a different one. I can't remember the name of the one I wanted to use. We don't need your sob
story.
Okay.
We just need you to go faster.
Beatmania. My bad.
Galactica.
Ooh.
Galaga.
Anybody say House of the Dead?
Yes.
Damn it. Okay.
You're out?
I'm out, yeah.
Oh, come on, man. What's that one thing? I ain't got it.
All right. I don't think anyone has mentioned Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
This game is just each of us winning our own categories. This is how it always goes.
Not always. I've lost my own.
Not always. Before. Not always, I guess. You're right.
All right. Well, I guess
most of the time.
I guess you took that one.
Yeah, I think we named every single arcade game.
Yeah.
So that was good. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. All right. My category is.
I remember the name of it.
None of the racing games were picked either, really. And racing's a huge arcade. Like Arctic Rush.
Cruising the USA.
Cruising the USA.
Oh, that was one of my favorite ones.
Was it Hydro Thunder one?
Yeah, Hydro Thunder. None of the sports games. NBA Jam, NFL Blitz. Any of the super classic games like Asteroids wasn't named. The original Mario Bros. I think Fruit Ninja would have got the axe, bro. That's a mobile game first.
Yeah, first maybe, but it is an arcade game now. You just said it came out in the arcade.
I mean, okay. Hey, your pick. Go on.
All right. Jeremy's. So this category is going to be Xbox.
Oh God.
It's going to be Xbox exclusives that have been released or announced in the past or since 2020. Let's do that.
What is this?
So it's Xbox games, Xbox exclusives announced or released in 2020.
When did Xbox One come out?
Xbox One came out, 2015?
Oh, God. Okay, yeah.
But I said 2020, though.
Yeah, I know what you said.
All right.
This is console exclusives, correct? Yep. Not, okay, because there's no, they're always on PC.
Yep. Console exclusives.
Okay. All right, Jeremy, you're first.
All right. I'll go with Halo Infinite.
God dang it.
Redfall.
Starfield.
It's very good. Oh, Hellblade 2 then.
Forza Horizons.
Okay.
Well, what about Hellblade 1? Was that one?
No, same series. No, same series. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. My bad.
That's it also wasn't exclusive.
Okay, I got nothing. I'm down.
And it came out before 2020. 3 strikes. You're out of here.
3 strikes on one answer.
All right. Well, then let's go Fable.
That's funny.
Avowed.
Okay, I can't think this quick. Let's go Clockwork Revolution. Huh?
Gears of War.
Okay, let's go Grounded.
State of Decay. State of Decay exclusive? I feel like it is.
It is.
Okay.
That one. State of Decay. Let's see here. I will go with.
There's so few of them. There's so few.
I will go with Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I will. Oh man, dang it. Halo, Gears, Forza. Does Forza Motorsport count?
The latest Gears of War was released in 2019.
Really? All right. Well, there you go. I'm out.
Oh,
what a
nice catch by David.
I was very. I'm like, I don't think there's been a Gears of War lately.
What about the DLC? I counted that. That's what I said.
Well, wait.
Okay.
Also, I think I was going to count technically Gears of War. I was counting Gears Tactics.
Oh, I did just say Gears. I probably should have specified, which I'll count that as an L.
Okay, I'll take the win.
Honestly, I don't even remember when Forza Horizons came out. That might 2020. That's like 3 years, man. 2 years, 2.5 years. That's a short time frame.
Well, I'm giving you like 3 years, but I mean, we know some games that are supposed to be coming out up to 2025. So I'm giving you 5. I'm giving you 5 years of games.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. All righty, David, it's up to you.
I have
nothing.
I have a couple answers for this, but I'm going to go off.
Okay.
On this one. Okay. My category is soundtracks of video games that have real music in them.
That have real music in them?
Yes. My first example, and we can use multiples because there's probably very few. Mine is Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
You hold on. You say real music,
like actual real music, not music made for that game.
Ah, okay. I see what you're talking about.
So like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is one of the most best music soundtracks.
And you really just got to go. You still have to go one for franchise, David. Unfortunately.
Fine. Okay, fine. Go ahead. So
because me and Jeremy would go back and forth. Go on, Jeremy. You can go next, Jeremy.
Wait, you're expecting me to know an answer to something?
Do you not?
Music. So it has to have real regular music.
Yeah,
we confirmed that. What is this guy buying time?
I'm going to go with Grand Theft Auto. It could be really any of them.
Right.
So
probably not one or two, but
I'll go with Grand Theft Auto.
I'm going Madden.
Twisted Metal 4 specifically.
Well, you know what, that lends well. Okay, I'm gonna go FIFA.
I'm gonna go NBA.
We're going
to have it.
The Need for Speeds.
Oh, the Need for Speeds do have that. I'm going to go with Guitar Hero.
Perfect. Rock Band.
God dang it. Yeah, I'm out.
You're out?
Wow.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Okay, I'm going with NHL. Yay.
Dang, that's
NHL.
what I was gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Saints Row 4.
Okay, I'm going to go with I don't
This
know,
is
man.
this is it.
I don't know,
You
man.
got one, Cory?
Do I have one? What are you?
Yeah,
Are you
'cause
asking me if I have?
You need to have another one to win.
I mean, technically, I've already answered one more than him, but yeah, sure, I'll go one more if I really have to.
It was
I mean,
one
if
for
it's
one.
a
So
okay, well, obviously, I'm going to pick an EA game. I'm going to go with Skate and hope
I
that's
forgot about
correct.
skates.
Is that correct? I don't
Yeah.
even. I would just
Skate?
assume.
Is it correct? Do you remember that it has
Oh.
like
I have no
other
clue.
music?
I have no clue.
That's yeah, that one's actually harder than I anticipated.
We got a lot more than I thought we would.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has real music.
Okay. Whew.
Children of Bodom, Motorhead,
Yes.
Nirvana, NWA, Rick James, Rick Ross, Slayer. It's all over.
What about
Slayer? That's what I am.
Dave Mirra BMX? Let's put that out there.
Oh,
Elite
it's
agents.
the songs that are in other games as well. It's showing them. So that's the Matt Hoffman BMX has just said that. There's the ATV Off Roads, Motor Storms.
Yeah, lots of sports and racing games.
Yeah.
That's why if you didn't pick one for a series, it'd have been me and Jeremy. Madden 07,
you know
Madden 08.
I should have freaking said Horizon. I mean, not Horizon, Forza. Forza Horizon. They have like the classical radio station plays all the classical music. They've got freaking Beethoven, Sebastian Bach, all that stuff. God.
In the moment, though, it's so tough. It's so tough.
It is.
I know.
It's the pressure.
Well, I mean, Cory wins fast as you can. That's what happened. We've reached the end of the podcast, which means that we've come to final thoughts, where we offer a final thought about something that could be related or unrelated to the podcast. Cory, since you're the victor with this, how about you offer your final thought first?
Okay. Jeremy always shouts out our YouTube channel at the end of the episodes, and I'm just here to reconfirm that we actually do different things on YouTube than we do just on the podcast. We record, and we've been recording lately, predictions and reactions to certain things, and we're actually going to record another one right after this. So if you enjoy our stuff, go to our YouTube, subscribe to that, and check out our predictions and our reactions to different showcases and just gaming news in general. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
I agree.
All righty, David, you want to offer up a final thought, or?
Yeah, sure.
All
right. So as you two know, I went to the Taylor Swift concert this past weekend, and I brought my partner, and she's not a Swiftie, but she kind of is now. She put on an amazing performance. She's out there for 3.5 hours, just singing her heart out and dancing and playing guitar and playing piano and just being real with everybody. And still one of my, top performances for music.
Very nice, man.
Yeah.
Very nice. The Swifties got what they deserved.
Finally.
That sounds
after
ominous.
5 years.
Yeah.
They got what they deserved. Okay, man.
My final thought that I'll offer, kind of a bit related to David's experience. My final thought is stuff at these concerts too expensive.
I agree.
I mean, earlier in the year, there were a couple of concerts I went to. One concert was for like an Australian artist that I like. We went there, grab a couple drinks. It was like $27. And then later on, we went to see Bad Friends live. They're on tour currently. Grabbed a couple of Jameson and Gingers, $40. I mean, what's happening here? What's going on here? How did it get that expensive? Just to go someplace and have a nice little sippy
inflation,
sip,
man.
A nice little sippy sip, and they're just killing it with these prices.
Mm-hmm.
So my final thought is, hey man, if you're going to go to a concert or anything like that, you've got to be packing some bank. Save up for 6 months. You know what I'm saying? You've got to do a little bit of a renewal of your mortgage. If you got it, I wouldn't advise it, but maybe. I mean, you got to have cash to go to these places. So that's my final thought. That ends level 68 of the Thoughts and Players podcast. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to the podcast on your preferred podcast service. We are also on the socials, such as Facebook. You can follow us there at www.facebook.com/thoughts and players, like it's all one word. We are also on Instagram and Twitter at ThoughtsPlayer2. We are on YouTube, as Cory mentioned, at Thoughts Players, where we upload video versions of the podcast as well as other content. We will be having our reactions to the Xbox Games Showcase pretty soon. It'll be up there, so you can check that out, get more detailed thoughts from us. And also, we have a Patreon. If you dig into your boys and you want to support, check out the Patreon. We got a $2, $5, $7 tiers. They all offer different goodies. We put extras on there for the Patreons. First looks for patrons. You can go ahead and check that out. Patrons, hey, Kingdom Bridge of Spirits review, it's on the way. You might end up getting an inside review first, though. Because try to make it a little bit difficult for your boy to record this gameplay footage. But it is what it is. But that's it for me. Fellas, is there anything else you want to say?
Peace. Goodbye.
All right, and we will catch you on the next level.